It feels extra cold this morning. It's snowing. This is the first snowfall of the year. I've recently gotten bit by the cleaning bug, so I was getting a little peckish for something sweet. I have a package. Let's open it. ThredUp, like thrifting, but online. Do you ever have a moment where music just takes you right back to the first time you heard it? This movie just met me at the very moment I needed it most. Chat to you about Darling Girl. Always a sucker for Peter Pan retelling. Hello fellow YouTubers, I'm Cassandra Joy and welcome to my channel. I'm in my comfy cozies today. Just started a load of laundry, which you can probably hear in the background. This morning is going to be a tidy up of my loft. It's just gotten a little out of hand, so I want to spend the morning getting my life together so that I can spend the rest of the day working on my night sky project, which if you're new here and don't know, I'm writing a book, and that's the code name I've given it, because if I give you the real title, someone out there would inevitably steal it, so I'm not taking any chances. But I'd like to work on that a little bit today. I've made some good progress with the last few chapters, which were monstrous, cutting a couple thousand words from each, so I feel really productive, but I'd like to keep that momentum going. That's the plan for today so far, and I thought I would take you with me. While I'm here, I might as well tidy up my shoes. This shoe rack has been so nice to keep my shoes that I wear all the time organized. It's from Amazon, and I can't even take credit for it because my mom found it. It's just been the best thing for my little entryway. I've recently gotten bit by the cleaning bug, so I've been tidying different areas of my loft. I took out all of my summer clothes and put them under my bed in storage boxes, and have taken out the fall stuff that I put under my bed last year and brought them out again. So it's been kind of nice to rediscover clothes I forgot I had, putting new outfits together, experimenting with layers, and honestly having a clean closet. That feels great. If you wondered why I'm holding a mug just randomly, I'm gonna make some tea. So now, while my tea is steeping, I'm gonna give this messy room a tidy up. Still have to vacuum, but I'm taking a breather. I think my tea is done steeping, so now I can add milk. Although making something hot to drink when I'm this overheated seemed a lot better of an idea in hindsight. I can't tell you how satisfying it is to slowly but surely make my way through my TBR list, which I keep right here by my couch for convenience so that I have no excuse when I'm sitting here watching YouTube or wasting time to not pick up a book. So while I'm catching my breath, I thought I would chat to you about a book I just finished called Darling Girl. I hinted at a little bit of my review in Instagram stories. If you're not following me over there, that's a good place to connect with me and see a little more of my day-to-day. When I tell you I'm a mega Peter Pan fan, that may sound like an exaggeration, but I have a little story that I think will convince you. When I was little, I had a major crush on Peter Pan. The cartoon version, the real life version with Jeremy Sumpter, loved it, all of it. Some children watch this, so I'm gonna say this carefully. This was around the time of Tooth Fairies and Santa Claus, that level of imagination and belief. Really trying to say this carefully. Most of me knew Peter Pan was not real, but there was a sliver, just enough, where I believed he was real. So I would leave my second story bedroom window open at night, just in case he decided to alight on my windowsill and whisk me off to Neverland. This was a very short-lived strategy, as my mother found out and complained that I was letting heat out of the house, which as an adult I completely understand. but at the time I was really offended. Like, you're taking away my chance to go to Neverland, Mom. Come on. So if there was any doubt of how much I love Peter Pan, that story should clarify it for you. I went into this book completely blind, which I've kind of started doing just as a habit. I don't want to read the inside cover. I kind of want to go in without any expectations, without really knowing much of the premise. I think book summaries often spoil the book plot anyway. Kind of like movie trailers. After you watch the trailer, you don't really need to see the movie because you can kind of figure out what's going to happen. All I knew about this book was that Peter was the villain. That's it. Very intrigued and really unsure. My heart was not ready to see Peter as the villain. I couldn't imagine a scenario in which he would be so bad that he could be hateable. There are only a few scenarios that would have got me there. They happen in this book. All of the things that could have made me be like, okay, this and this and this would have to happen for me to really hate Peter. No spoilers, but they all happen. All of them. This story centers around the third darling generation. So there was Wendy, Jane, and Holly. Holly is the main character of this story. J.M. Barrie, the author of Peter Pan in this universe, was childhood friends with Wendy. So after her adventure to Neverland, she came back and told him the story. And he, with her permission, stole the story. He had always wanted to be a writer and wasn't really good at it. So with the agreement that much of the royalties would go to her and her family, offering Wendy at the time female independence, which wasn't readily available in that time period, Wendy jumped at the chance, solidifying the darling industry, the darling name, the darling legacy. Jane, Holly's mother, has grown up listening to every beautiful tale that involves Neverland and the adventure her mother Wendy had, to the point where she almost hero worships Peter. In this version of reality, Jane has never been to Neverland. She's never flown off with Peter at all. In fact, the book hints that she's never even met Peter. A part of her is always waiting for Peter, always waiting for the adventure to begin, for it to be her turn. And her turn never seems to come, which is why Holly, Jane's daughter, is reluctant to tell her mother that she has seen Peter Pan on multiple occasions. But we'll get to that in a minute. Holly, being the third darling generation, has grown up with all of these stories too, but she's not hung her hat on them. She's made a life of her own. She married a lovely young man named Robert, had twin boys, and life was relatively perfect until a tragic accident happens where she loses the majority of her family, left with only one of her twins, Jack. Because of this, she's understandably overprotective, keeps Jack on a very short leash, which to a teenage boy is very infuriating. But she has a secret that she's never told anyone. She has a daughter. A daughter stuck in a coma who has a rare blood disorder that causes her to age rapidly. At the time the story takes place, her daughter Eden is only 13 years old, but she looks 20. Holly's entire adult life has been devoted to finding a cure for her daughter Eden while keeping her a secret from Jack. She doesn't want to add to his trauma, add to the bad memories, which he has successfully blocked out. He doesn't remember his sister, and Holly would like to keep it that way. She's the kind of mom who wants to protect him from as much pain as possible. Everything kicks off when her daughter Eden vanishes. She's unconscious, by the way, has been for years, but all of a sudden her body is missing. It looks as if she's disappeared out her bedroom window, but there are no footprints on the ground outside. Holly is terrified that Peter has stolen Eden. And this is where the story sort of takes a turn and gets really interesting. The story we've all grown up to believe is the story that Holly's mother Jane believes, that the book J.M. Barrie wrote, Peter Pan, is gospel truth, when in fact, a lot of the details in Peter Pan are either false or fudged. Turns out J.M. Barrie changed a few of Wendy's story details to make the story better and more believable. But without spoiling the ending, one thing I really enjoyed, more than Holly, more than Eden or Jack or even Wendy, I loved Jane's character. Jane, who has hero worshipped Peter Pan her entire life, who believes in the story as if it were real and takes every detail to heart. I like that the author wrote her that way because I think she reflects all of us. All the readers jumping into this book, holding on tightly to the story we know about Peter Pan, hoping against hope that the fact that Peter being the villain is some sort of misunderstanding, that it's not really true, and that there will be some huge plot twist that reveals it all to be false. And the author does such an amazing job of slowly, gently releasing our grasp off of that story and revealing a newer, grittier, darker tale. This book is perfect for people who love twisted fairy tales. It's completely engaging. I burned through this in a day and a half. I think the author was really brave to take a story that is so beloved and put a twist to it. I'm not sure I would have had the courage to do that. So I thought I would share this review of Darling Girl in case any of you had your eye on it, weren't sure if you should take the plunge, weren't sure if your heart was ready to see Peter as the villain. I completely understand the hesitation, but from where I'm sitting after reading this, it was a really good book. I will always be a sucker for Peter Pan retellings, and this one did not disappoint. So I was getting a little peckish for something sweet, and I've been really trying hard to stay away from bad sugars, so I thought as a compromise it might be fun to take some Lily's dark chocolate baking chips and some pumpkin seeds. Put the chocolate into a double broiler, because I recently learned that trying to melt chocolate in the microwave, A, never works, because B, the microwave takes all of the moisture out of the chocolate, which causes it to burn. So if you have to melt chocolate, I would suggest using a double broiler. When the chocolate's melted, I'm gonna take the pumpkin seeds and the chocolate, mix them together, pour them out onto this tray, and freeze it, so that when it's all done, I'll have little pumpkin seed chocolate bites. I've never done this before. This will be a fun little experiment, but I thought if it works, it might be worth sharing. Chocolate's starting to melt real nice. Ooh, look at that. It's so gooey. I love it. Now I just gotta make sure that I don't burn it. Okay, let's add the pumpkin seeds. Let's hope doing it this way is not a mistake. Alright, that's what it looks like at the end. Now I'm just going to put this in the freezer and wait for it to cool off. The chocolate got me. Well, I'm gonna have to change my shirt now. No one talks about the hazards of making things. They just tell you how fun it is and how unfun the cleanup is. They don't tell you that there are casualties. All right, I have changed outfits. I've even done my hair and makeup. I just have to put some lipstick on. I figured while I was changing my clothes, I might as well look presentable for the day. I'll be the first to admit this is not a runway outfit of any kind, but it's super cozy, which is really all I care about. Making tea, and I thought I would show you how my pumpkin seed dark chocolate snack turned out. So I put part of them in the pumpkin seed packet. Didn't all fit, so I've got the rest of it in a Ziploc in the freezer, but they turned out so good. I have tried a bit, I won't lie, and it's delicious. Because they're seeds, they're filling, so I find that I don't overeat them. It's just the perfect hit of something sweet. It makes you very thirsty though. I don't know if it's the chocolate or the seeds. Something about it requires a beverage. I have a package. There it is. I think everybody by now knows what the green packaging means. Let's open it. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a ThredUp ambassador, proudly so. I was buying stuff from ThredUp with my own money before that ever happened, but luckily ThredUp now pays me to support their brand, giving me a monthly allowance to spend, so I always make sure that I use it for items I really need. So let me show you what I got. I really like ThredUp because it's all secondhand, so it's like thrifting but online. I'm starting to pull away from fast fashion, even though I love the affordability of fast fashion, and I am the kind of person that doesn't just buy something and toss it, buy something and toss it. I keep my clothes for a very long time, but I do understand the ethics that come into play, so I try to thrift my clothes as often as possible, not only to save money but just to be more environmentally conscious, and ThredUp allows me to do that. First thing I got was this really cozy sweater. I don't know why, but it reminded me of Tommy Hilfiger. It's not. It's actually Ula Popkin. But doesn't this look so cozy. It's a bit oversized, but I bought it knowing that because I wanted something kind of slouchy and really cozy and thought that would be perfect for fall and winter. Second thing I got, I could technically wear now, but I'll probably save it for the spring, is this really colorful shirt. I have a sleeveless shirt that you guys compliment me on every time I wear it that have these exact colors. So when I saw it, I thought, obviously I need to add this to my wardrobe. It has quarter-length sleeves, so this is perfect for those in-between seasons. Just a floaty blouse, and I think this will be really pretty. The brand is Torrid, and that's the other thing I really like about ThredUp. They have a really good category of sizes on their website, so I almost never struggle to find something. So if you haven't checked out ThredUp before, I do have a discount code linked in the description box of every video for you. It gets you $10 off your first order, and especially with the Christmas holidays coming up, I would take advantage. Whether or not you want to buy something for yourself, you could definitely find something for a friend or two. Maybe consider using the coupon code for someone else in your life. Good morning, loves. It's the next day, and it feels extra cold this morning, so I've dressed in my new ThredUp sweater, and I feel nice and warm and cozy. Need to get myself some breakfast and maybe make myself something hot to drink so I can warm up. So I was just having breakfast and I happened to look out the window and got a nice little surprise. It's snowing! This is the first snowfall of the year and I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not a fan of the cold, but look how pretty! If I could have the pretty without the cold, I'd be fine. So I thought, in an effort to see the positive, I would come out here and play in the snow for a little bit. Oh wow, look at the creek. I've never seen it so low before. I love when it snows, how it covers the tree branches and accentuates them all. My hands are so cold, but it's so pretty out here. So something I learned recently is why it's so quiet in the winter. The reason it's so quiet is because snow dampens all sound. So even though the animals are still making noise and they're still walking around or singing or hunting, doing all that stuff, we can't hear it because snow acts as a sound dampener. I thought that was so interesting. It makes total sense, but I'd never thought about it before. So if you ever wondered why winter is so unbelievably quiet, that's why. All right, enough playing. I'm gonna go back inside now. I can't feel my hands. Considering how cold and snowy it is outside, it just felt right to have a cozy Nancy Drew watch. If you guys don't know, I grew up with these Nancy Drew games and played a few in my youth, but I never got through all of them. In fact, I think I only played 2 or 3. So watching someone else solve the mystery and find the clues is really fun to me and just feels all sorts of cozy. So I thought I would watch that while I edit. And then I think what I'd like to do, man, my hair is all fluffy today. I've got all the Hermione hair. I think what I'd like to do today is work on getting through my TBR list. It's getting smaller, one book at a time. I'm really happy with how it's shrinking. So I'd like to spend some time getting cozy with a blanket and reading a little bit. Working on my book, of course, per usual. I think that's just gonna be standard from now on, at least until Christmas, which is my personal goal, to get everything done and sent off to an agent. But most especially what I wanna do today, to christen the first snowfall of the year, is to play Christmas music and pull out a Christmas movie. I'm thinking The Holiday. It's one of my favorites. I watch it every year. Last year I didn't get a chance to, so I might start a little early. I mean, the setting's perfect. I tell you, there are fewer, more satisfying things than finishing a book, taking it out of your TBR list bookshelf and putting it on your main bookshelf. The only issue is that it's my own fault. I've done a rainbow effect on my bookshelf, which I love, don't regret that. But when you have a book that is a specific color and that section has no more room, you have to do some shuffling. So that's what I've been doing the past 5 minutes, is putting all of these books that I finished away into their color categories and then shuffling everything down so that I can fit this in the red section. Luckily, I have room to spare, what every bookworm wants to hear, because that means you can buy more books. And I don't know about you, but I feel like books, most of the time, either red or black. They don't have a lot of color. In fact, when I was on a field trip in high school to a publishing company, they had us look at a bookstore and look at all of the different colors of books and asked us which one was more prominent. Hands down, the more prominent color was black. That always stuck in my mind for when I get my own books published. I don't want them to be black. I don't want them to be red. I want them to be a bright color that makes them stand out. Isn't it funny the kind of things you have to think about beyond just writing the book? Yay! There's room now. It has room to sit on my shelf, and there's room to spare. The only annoying thing about having all my movies in my window bench is that every time I want to get into it, I have to take everything off of it first. It reminds me that I need to water my plants, because otherwise they just sort of become white noise in the background. I know they're there, but I don't process they're there. So looking at it as a positive, I should probably water my plants. Oh, the music. It's so nostalgic to me. Oh, I love it. Do you ever have a moment where music just takes you right back to the first time you heard it? I watched The Holiday for the first time when I was in college, and it was a time where I felt very unloved, very unwanted. I was in crush with a guy who didn't like me back, and at that time it just felt like the end of the world. And when I watched The Holiday, there's a quote that Iris, the character Iris, says. If you guys have ever watched the movie, it's the quote where she talks to Jack Black's character. I can't remember his name. In the movie, and that conversation between them just hit home for me at that point in my life, and I think that's partly why I love this movie.
I understand feeling as small and as insignificant as humanly possible, and how it can actually ache in places that you didn't know you had inside you. And it doesn't matter how many new haircuts you get, or gyms you join, or how many glasses of Chardonnay you drink with your girlfriends, you still go to bed every night going over every detail and wonder what you did wrong or how you could have misunderstood. And sometimes you can even convince yourself that he'll see the light and show up at your door. And after all that, however long all that may be, you'll go somewhere new and you'll meet people who make you feel worthwhile again. And little pieces of your soul will finally come back.
I really resonated with Iris's character because she was in love with someone who didn't love her back, who didn't treat her right, who took advantage of her affection. This movie just met me where I was at the very moment I needed it most, and I think that's partly why it holds such a special place in my heart. So when I hear this music, it just takes me back to that moment. Back in college, when little 18, 19-year-old Cass watched this movie for the first time. I don't want to say they were good memories, because they weren't really. It was a really hard time in my life, but this memory in particular was a good one. No word of a lie, it is my absolute dream to stay in a little cottage like the one Amanda Woods in the movie stays at. It's just So darling. All done. Oh, such a good movie, as always. Just makes me feel so good. I mean, I'm a hopeless romantic anyway, so I'm a sucker for a good love story, but this one's a good love story. And it's getting me in such a mood for Christmas. I'm definitely considering decorating early. And apparently there's even an article out there that has discovered that people who decorate early for Christmas are happier. I don't know by what percentage, but they're happier. So I feel like I'm validated in that decision. That's exactly what I needed to do. Watch the holiday to put me in the best mood. Well, on that cozy note, I think I might leave the vlog here. I thought about continuing it on just a little bit more, but to be honest, the rest of the vlog would be pretty boring. I'm just gonna be reading Practical Magic. I'm about halfway through. I'm on page 125 and enjoying it so far, so I thought I would curl up in a blanket with some hot tea and do a little bit of reading the rest of the afternoon. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this day in the life. If it felt a little more random than normal, that's because sometimes my days are a little random. But I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a future video from me. I upload on Wednesdays and Saturdays, both at 6 a.m. and would love for you to be part of this little online family. My goal is to get my channel monetized, which means I need 1,000 subscribers, and we're very nearly there. So let's see how big we can grow this family. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye!